This week on The Facts, we learn about one match and meet a little girl who is alive today because of it.
We find out what it's like to work on a pilot boat outside Halifax Harbor.
And some lucky high school students get to try shooting in film.
Hi there, and thanks for tuning in to The Facts. I'm Megan Morelli.
And I'm Jennifer Grudich. We're coming to you from our newsroom at the University of King's College.
To start this week, university students at Dalhousie got swabbed. Cheek swabbed, that is. They were signing up for a national network of bone marrow and stem cell donors. Sarah Larnuk has more.
It's called One Match. It's a program that matches healthy people between the ages of 17 and 35 with people that need stem cells or a bone marrow transplant.
If I have it and I'm not using it, or most of it, someone else can use it if they need it to save their life.
Some basic criteria has to be met in order to join the network. You have to be between the ages of 17 and 35. Male donors are preferred. You have to be in general good health, be willing to donate to anyone in need, and have a government-issued health card. People that meet these conditions are more likely to be compatible bone marrow or stem cell donors.
So it is a long-term commitment, and it is a serious commitment, and participation is voluntary. But when people register, we would like them to seriously consider about being available for a patient in need when they are found a match. In fact, the most important thing is it's a profound way of helping someone or saving someone's life.
If someone meets the basic criteria, they fill out their personal information and swab their cheeks 4 times. Then their genetic information is entered into the One Match network, and their information is matched against people suffering from illnesses such as aplastic anemia, immune system disorders, and leukemia. About 1,000 Canadians are looking to be matched with stem cell and bone marrow donors, and more than 150 Haligonians joined the One Match network last week. I met Reese Hawkins, a little girl from Pictou, Nova Scotia, that is alive today because of One Match.
This is Upsy Daisy and this is Baby Minnie.
At 10 months old, Reese was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, an aggressive cancer that attacks bone marrow and the immune system. Ever since, it has been a struggle for Reese and her family.
That's how I do it sometimes.
She had completed her treatment, and we were hopeful that she had been cured. But about 5.5 months later, we found out again that the leukemia had come back, and now, in order for Reese to beat it, she would have to have a bone marrow transplant, and that was her only hope to survive it.
There you go. In April 2012, Reese was matched with an umbilical cord donor for stem cells from One Match. And now, 20 months after her treatment, Reese is still in remission. Now she's able to enjoy the things that a 3-year-old should, like ballet.
You know, if you could be that person's hero, because that's what you are saving them. Without you, without that match, they will not survive. We owe whoever donated Reese's umbilical cord, we owe them everything. Everything. We owe them everything.
For The Facts, I'm Sarah Larnuk.
For more information on One Match, visit our website. We'll give you the address at the end of the show.
A 40-foot container is on its way to one of the poorest countries in the world, Sierra Leone. Megan has the story on how one woman got a local charity to donate internationally.
These boxes are going to Africa, all because one woman's story inspired a local giver. Rugiatu Ndole came to Halifax from Sierra Leone in 2001. She lived through civil war.
Dying is really hard for people to die, to pass on, but then it got to the point it was nothing. It's like normal, because on the street, when the rebel kill people, they will tell you don't bury. If you bury, they'll kill people in that area. They'll say the whole street will go. So you see dead bodies on the road. Their family not allowed to bury them.
Mel Boutlier has run the Parker Street Food and Furniture Bank for over 20 years, but this is the first time he's taken on an international project.
The reason we're filling a container to go to Sierra Leone is because a lady from there came to the food bank, I think something around 3 years ago, And she was telling me about the fact that they had a civil war there some years ago, and that conditions there are still just horrible.
Shipping the container overseas wasn't an easy job. Even the Canadian Revenue Agency was in the way. Parker Street had to change its charitable status to take on this shipment. The process took about 6 months. There are issues here about what a charity can and cannot do, but there's also debate about what a charity should do.
How will those goods be distributed? Will they be delivered to people? Will people have free access to it? Are they going to be sold? Are they going to be sold at a profit? Are they going to be sold in an affordable way? Who knows? Those are questions that I think the food bank should look at to say exactly how their goods are going to get distributed.
Ndole says her good friend, a minister in Sierra Leone, will take care of distributing the container once it arrives. For The Facts, I'm Megan Morelli.
Most people think of computer programming as a room full of guys. Ladies Learning Code is a workshop trying to change that. Olivia Rempel reports.
It lets beginners dabble in different programming languages. Since it started in Toronto, Ladies Learning Code has spread chapters across the country.
I looked around to see if I could find an introduction to some sort of programming class or coding class, and I crashed an intro to computer science class at Dal, and it was really awkward because I was the only girl in the class. And so in my search to find something that could kind of teach me the basics of computer programming, I came across a blog post written by Jevin McDonald for the Ladies Learning Code website. And so I sent them an email and I asked them if they'd ever done workshops here in Halifax, and they said no, but if you want to start a chapter, we'd be totally supportive. So I did.
Yeah, I have an English degree, and I got into the computer thing sort of on the side, and it sort of became a career. So there's a sort of perception that computer is only really nerdy engineering kind of stuff that's only for really nerdy guys, and that's not really the case. It's actually got wide-ranging interests, and there's certainly no reason that women can't do it. And I think it's better for the culture, the tech culture in general, if there's a wider range of people working on it.
Many people take the class for fun, but learning to code can lead to new job opportunities.
I work as a marketing analyst for an engineering firm, and it's a very small firm. However, my understanding of HTML and CSS, which is a class that's also offered by Ladies Learning Code, and I'd taken it a few months ago, it helped me get the job.
The response has been really great. There are definitely workshops that are more popular than others. So HTML and CSS, there's always full classes with wait lists. JavaScript as well was a very popular one. Python was very popular.
Both men and women are welcome to attend the workshop. You can find out more by Googling Ladies Learning Code. For The Facts, I'm Olivia Rempel.
A lot of people hit by the tech layoffs in Halifax are still looking for work. BlackBerry, Xerox, and Converges laid off more than 500 people in the last few months. Many of them showed up at a recent job fair called Get Connected. At least 200 workers in the technology sector are looking for jobs and hope to find some at last Thursday's fair. The province, along with an association of Nova Scotian technology companies, held the event. About 40 employers scouted for job hunters for customer support, management, and information technology positions.
We've seen a lot of people coming through here today that certainly fit those roles.
The fair gave workers a chance to network and even meet with employers in speed interviews. Bruce Kilburn worked for BlackBerry for more than 6 years.
We have a lot of companies coming in and hiring the workforce, but then leaving the province. And I think if we have some means of retention that's not a payroll benefit or a tax deduction, something to keep the employers here.
A long hallway of the BMO Center in Bedford was filled with job hunters and employers throughout the afternoon.
Still to come, we take a ride on a pilot boat.
And meet the students behind TEDx Halifax West High.
Every year, more than 2,000 ships from all over the world visit Halifax Harbor. Cruise ships, container ships, and oil tankers all need help getting to the wharf. And for that, they use pilot boats. Jennifer went out to see what that job is like.
Rough seas, cold ocean air. It's just another day on the job for the crew aboard the Chebucto Pilot.
Come out in all kinds of weather, whether nice days and bad days, and we assess the situation and decide whether we can put a harbor pilot on board a ship.
Launchmaster Lloyd Hatt and deckhand Richie Rayberg are preparing to leave from Herring Cove for their second assignment of the day.
Roger.
All they need now is a pilot.
Ships coming in and leaving Halifax that are large vessels and not necessarily familiar with the port are required to take a local captain on board called a pilot.
Strong wind and rain from the day before make for rocky seas. Waves between 3 and 7 meters pound against the pilot boat as it heads out to meet the ship.
That's the ship we're going to meet. That's this little icon.
So right now we're just leaving Herring Cove and we're on our way out to meet the Seven Seas Highway, which is a large ship carrying cars.
Hang on, ladies.
Yeah, hang on. We're going to hit the wake from the ship.
The whole transfer takes mere seconds to complete. If something goes wrong, it can be a matter of life and death.
We don't want to raise on the side of the ship and squish the guy's legs, so I'm there to kind of walk him down the ladder to make sure that he gets down safely.
Captain Hatt must ensure that he stays close enough to the ship so that the pilot can reach the ladder.
See, this is a challenge right here because the ladder is too low. It's dragging in the water.
It's a delicate process that requires years of experience. And he's up. While today's transfer was successful, the rough waters of the Atlantic can sometimes make it impossible.
And it happened last night. One of the pilots on another auto carrier left the autoport and came out, and it was so rough, it was blowing almost 60 knots of wind, and they decided that it wasn't worth trying to get off, and the pilot now is on his way to New York.
So the next time you see a giant container ship or a cruise ship coming into the harbor, think about the pilot crew who most likely helped get it there. For the facts, I'm Jennifer Grudich.
I think Jen's happy she's off that boat now.
I'm going to be honest, I might have gotten a little seasick, but other than that, we had a great afternoon.
For more on this story, including an interview with the head of the Atlantic Pilotage Authority, visit our blog. We'll have the address later.
The Nova Scotia legislature started a new session on Thursday. In keeping with tradition, the new Liberal government started with a speech from the throne. The Premier says the most important piece of legislation will break up the monopoly of Nova Scotia Power.
We think in the long run this will reduce power rates in the province of Nova Scotia. Will they see it overnight? No, but in the long run we believe we'll see a reduction in power rates based on the fact that we're allowing renewable energy producers to sell directly to customers.
The opposition leader questions whether any of this will affect Nova Scotians' power bills.
They're silent on the guaranteed profit of Nova Scotia Power. There's nothing today about reducing their rate of return, something that they spoke loudly about along with us in opposition, yet have nothing to say about it now that they're in government.
Some of the other items on the government slate include a review of MLA compensation, changes to contract arbitration, and a new holiday in February.
Getting young people involved in politics can be a challenge. That's a lesson student activists learned last week.
Fewer than 20 people showed up for a protest outside Province House before the throne speech. This small group of students wants the Liberal government to put education first.
Their platform said, education's not a line item in a budget, it's our future.
Organizers had spent the previous day giving out cake and trying to persuade people to show up. But even free sweets couldn't rally much support. Still, organizers hope their message will reach Stephen McNeil.
Tuition in this province is too high, that post-secondary education isn't accessible, isn't affordable, and that students are actually going to be watching his government over the next 4 years.
The student organizers say they're planning more protests after Christmas break.
2 high school students wanted to bring the experience of an international conference to their peers. The result was TEDx Halifax West High. Mo Hashem checked it out.
So we'll know by tomorrow, I guess?
After volunteering for TED Talks at Dalhousie University, Hannah Cameron and Ahmed Qureshi had the idea of bringing the event to the high school level.
Ideas are, what makes up most of our life.
And so, bringing TEDx here and having those ideas we're spreading for the students, that's definitely what TEDx means to us.
TED is a global set of conferences that bring accomplished speakers to share their ideas with an audience. For local communities, the company offers TEDx events, which means that it is completely organized by the host.
So basically what they do is you apply for your license, they give you an organizational package and rules and guidelines, and you follow that and create your own event.
An event like this doesn't come without obstacles, even from Mother Nature. 2 days before the event started, a strong storm in Halifax ripped through part of the school's roof.
Yesterday we found out that the roof was actually torn off our school, so we didn't know yesterday morning what was going to happen.
And even though the student volunteers have been working longer than they had expected, TEDx still started on time. Our camera isn't allowed in the school theater due to tight TED restrictions, but we've been getting positive reactions from those here today.
I really liked all the speeches. They were really great, and the performance was amazing.
I watch TED Talks all the time, so it's really cool to actually see it in motion.
This is an amazing opportunity as someone who is going on into the mystical adult world next year to be able to be shown these ideas and given these examples of things.
TEDx at Halifax West didn't just inspire the students, it also inspired their teachers.
And I think we should also look at it at a broader spectrum as to what these young people are bringing, not only to us as a school, but to their future choices.
The student organizers are hoping to apply their new skills in the future as they go on to expect the unexpected. For The Facts, I'm Mo Hashim.
Up next, Art Battle lets buyers see how their art is made.
And one man has a mission to spread happiness throughout the holiday season. It's an old school technology, but a bunch of high school students are excited about making films. They're using Super 8 cameras from the 60s at a camp run by the Atlantic Filmmakers Co-op. Olivia Rempel has more.
Ready? The co-op has been hosting a free workshop for high school students since mid-November, letting them try some new and old equipment.
In terms of the workshop, this is the third weekend that we've done, and out of 4 weekends. So the first weekend we did basically workshops and some pre-production planning, deciding what our films were going to be about. And what we had decided to do is to do 2 films. One was an individual film, and one was a group film. And then we spent the last 2 weekends filming those 2 films. And then next weekend is going to be the editing. But we're a little bit ahead of schedule, so actually we might be doing some editing today.
For the first part of the day, they got to try shooting with film.
Students spend about an hour planning their stories, and then they head out to film them.
They've given us all the gear, they've told us how to do it, and they showed us how to use the gear, and they said, okay, make a movie. So they didn't write one for us, they didn't get actors for us, we had to do it all ourselves, so it's like actually being in the business. AFCOOP has made me want to become a film writer and director and producer, whatever. I just want to be in film.
I didn't have too much experience before I started volunteering in AFCOOP, and it kind of helped me broaden my horizons in film and kind of get some more experience and see what it's actually like.
If you want to see how the final product turns out, the co-op will be screening their work on December 19th. For The Facts, I'm Olivia Rempel.
Local painters performed this week in a contest called Art Battle. They stepped out of their homes and studios and into the spotlight to show a crowd their talent. Jennifer Cameron was there.
A new approach to art has hit Halifax. Artists have a 20-minute time limit, and the buyer gets to watch how it's made.
Art Battle is live competitive painting, and tonight we're going to have 12 local artists painting. Each of the artists has 20 minutes to create a piece of art. And then as they're working, the audience is moving quite closely around the easels and watching what's happening. And we have music playing, and at the end of the 20-minute round, the audience votes for their favorite painting.
Dylan Edwards is an animator and digital artist. He bought his first canvas 2 months ago after one Art Battle show. Tonight, he's a contestant.
When I got in, I ran out and bought a bunch of supplies and put newspaper around the dining room, and practiced on a few canvases, so hopefully it'll work out. You just have 20 minutes, so it makes you just go for it. You know, you don't question your choices. You don't have any time. It's really neat to see people getting all excited about seeing art being made, rather than, you know, the usual club scenes. You got all the same ingredients. There's drinks, there's people, and, you know, people are kind of dressed up, but they're all excited to see paintings happen, which I think is, you know, really interesting.
This is the 8th Art Battle in Halifax, as they started last January. Art Battle itself started 5 years ago in Toronto, and is now happening in most major Canadian cities.
There's people of all different walks of life. Like, there could be someone who works in the coffee shop, there's professors, there's 70-year-olds painting, there's 13-year-olds painting here. And it's so interactive, I guess, because you can vote on it and you're walking around watching it happen. It just makes art feel a little more accessible, I think, to everyone.
After each round, everybody votes. Artists aren't used to working in front of an audience, but they say it adds energy to their creative process.
You never saw the public, you know, in your room or the house when you're painting, so to exchange that is nice.
The battle highlights talent and the idea that not all art is created equally. The paintings get lined up for the silent auction. Dylan was surprised.
It's really nice to see that someone has seen the painting I've done and thinks it's something they want to pay money for.
The winner gets to take home a $250 cash prize, as well as the amount that their painting goes for. The buyers get to take home a memory as well as a piece of art. For the facts, I'm Jen Cameron.
John Dunsworth played a naughty Santa on the Trailer Park Boys. He's been fascinated with the big guy for years. And now, he's making a documentary film about him. Working alongside Telltale Productions, he gears up in the famous red suit known to many as Old St. Nick for the film, The Santa Quest.
This just seemed like a natural progression to find out more about Santa Nicola, the first Santa.
Dunsworth attended Santa School in Calgary to get the background behind the well-known icon. However, for Dunsworth, it's much more than just wearing the suit.
So Santa Claus, this Santa Claus, who really treasures working with children mostly, all the other things that we've done so far will pale. They pale in comparison to having a little child look at you and say, "I love you, Santa."
Sometimes all you really need is a hug. That's why one man is riding the train from Halifax to Washington and giving out hugs along the way. Bria McDonald embraced the story.
Ari Moyal calls his trip the Hug Train. The point is to spread happiness during the holiday season.
There's the holiday movies, the holiday ads, you know, everyone talking about making holiday plans, and for some people that's not easy because they don't necessarily have friends or family to be with, or they don't have the financial resources to buy the gifts and do the lavish meals.
This is Moyal's 5th annual Hug Train trip, but it's his first year hugging in Canada. Moyal pays for his trip through donations from company sponsors, as well as friends, family, and even strangers.
Thank you.
Here in Halifax, a local restaurant even gave him a free lunch.
A Canadian Community Health Survey shows that the more someone is hugged, the happier they are. Hugs can bond people together and relieve anxieties.
It's not about picking the right words or saying exactly the right thing or stimulating the exact right neuron centers or whatever. It's just basically, you know, this simple but rich form of communication where I give you a hug, it helps.
Some people don't feel comfortable getting a hug from a stranger, but others took Moyal up on his offer.
Oh man, that's
nice. How did the hug itself feel?
Warm, nice, just kind of that human connection is always really nice, especially in the cold.
Moyal's next stop is Ottawa. He'll be hugging in cities across Canada and the U.S. until January 5th. For the facts, I'm Bria McDonald.
There are lots of stories coming out of the King's Journalism School. Listen to The Radio Room. It's on CKDU 88.1, Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. The Halifax Commoner is published every Friday. You can find it in coffee shops and on newsstands all over Halifax. And don't forget to check out unews.ca for up-to-date local, national, and international news. That's our show, and that's our season. You can find more stories at thefacts.wordpress.com.
For the University of King's College, I'm Megan Morelli.
And I'm Jennifer Grudich. We'll be back with a new season in January. Thanks for watching, and happy holidays.